Some of you may have already met me in previous forum, especially the last one I did jointly with Gwyn. My name is Judith. I'm one of the clinical psychologists and generally working in pediatrics, but recently started in the new staff support service. And following on, I guess, from some of the sessions you recently had with Gwyn and Rachel, specifically, I guess, thinking about, a few months back, the Connect and Reflect session, I thought today might be a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about the new staff support service and who's actually linked to it or involved in it and what we are hoping to be able to do over the next few weeks and months. Just, for you to be aware. I'm mindful that some of those things may have been touched on previously, so I hope it doesn't feel like too much of repetition or duplication, but I thought it might be, useful to kind of really set the scene now where staff is in place to deliver the more specific staff support service. So I hope that is useful. Of course, if you have questions as we go along, please do ask. Pallavi and Anna are kindly helping me today because I have to access this on my phone and can't really see the chat at the moment. But yeah, more than happy for questions to come as we go along. Anna, would you be able to put the first or go to the next slide? Thank you. So what I thought we could do today is basically really following the structure Rachel and Gwyn did in the previous sessions, maybe starting with a brief mindfulness exercise, and it is really brief, but maybe just to kind of set the scene a bit, starting us off, and maybe some of you have already come from busy activities before this, just to kind of, give us a little bit of a break and help us to focus. And then, as usual, we go into the breakout rooms. And I have prepared a couple of questions for you guys to think and reflect on, and then we are coming back to the big group just to have a bit, I guess, of a chat, but also then for me to provide you guys with more information on the staff support service. And then following on from that, we go into the breakout room again, and you guys have more of a chance to discuss and reflect, and then hopefully we have a rich group discussion at the end, and of course, as I said, also a chance for you to ask questions. I hope that sounds okay. Any questions from either of you before we start? Otherwise, I might just go into the mindfulness exercise. So I hope people can still see me. Hang on, I might just take my phone. I have to admit, I'm not an expert like Gwen is, so you have to bear with me a little bit. Also, because I do come from pediatrics, I often do, well, I don't want to say child-based mindfulness exercise, but I just thought to mix it up a little bit today. I will try something I hope you guys enjoy. But of course, as with all these exercises, some of you might be very familiar with it, others feel like it's not their cup of tea. It's of course just an invitation to take part in this. There's no obligation. If you're not so keen, if you just bear with us for a couple of moments or a couple of minutes until we have done this, then of course that is fine as well. But if you would like to take part in the exercise, it might be useful to kind of sit as comfortably as you can at the moment. Yeah, maybe making yourself settled in your chair. Mindfully with your spine straight and your body relaxed, maybe resting your hands on your lap and focusing on a spot on the wall or somewhere that you can concentrate, or if you feel comfortable also to close your eyes, please feel free to do that as well. And I guess just as a starting point, I'm so sorry, I think someone, I still can hear noises in the background. Is there someone not on mute by any chance? Because I could just hear some rustling, or I hope it wasn't any technical backing. Thank you very much. I think it has gone now. So yeah, if you feel comfortable to close your eyes or focus, your gaze, just slowly concentrate on your breathing and maybe take 3 soft, slow mindfulness breath in, and really noticing when you're breathing in and out, how the air is moving through your body. And just staying with your breathing for a moment until you feel settled. And now I would like you to imagine you're in a forest with tall trees. You hear the birds chirping in the trees. You may hear squirrels running across fallen leaves on the ground. And you're noticing yourself sitting in front of a small pond, and the water is very still. Just look into the pond. See the reflection of the trees in the clear water. Just staying with this image for a moment, whilst you're still also concentrating on your breathing in and breathing out. What else do you see? Do you see yourself reflected in the water too? Just notice how that leaves you feeling and how your body feels at this moment in time. There's no need to change anything. There's no need to do anything. Just observe and be in the moment. Imagine dropping a pebble into the pond and see the ripples in the water. And keep watching until the ripples have disappeared. And when the water becomes still again, open your eyes and come back into the room. So this was just a really short exercise to get us going. And I think there are a couple of people in the lobby. I don't know if they have been able to enter the meeting now. So I hope everyone was able to enter. And if we go back to the presentation. Thank you. And to the next slide. What I want you to do in the breakout rooms and smaller groups, maybe thinking a little bit about the need for support in your teams and what you have noticed in recent weeks. If you feel anything has changed, yeah, if there's anything you have particularly noticed, and also what you feel are priorities or your priorities when you think about your team needs when it comes to staff support. And maybe for the next 10 minutes, yeah, just sharing with each other in your small groups, yeah, what your thoughts and ideas are. Anna, are you able to organize the breakout rooms?
Yep, I'll just stop sharing for the moment. I'll put the questions in the chat once I've put everyone in the breakout room.
Super, thank you.
Are we in a breakout room?
Not just yet. I think Anna's trying to organize it. So yeah, sorry.
Judith, I wonder if we could just put the questions up while Anna's focusing.
Yeah, I've just assigned people to the rooms and it says they failed to open. So I'm going to try again.
Okay. Do we have the questions available? I can pop them into the chat. And
would you mind? Unfortunately, I can't share the slide because Anna, I think, is just doing the breakout rooms. So the first question would be the need for support. What have you noticed in your team or teams in recent weeks? Would you be able to put that in the chat?
Yes, that one's in the chat now. The second one was about priorities, I think.
Yes. What are your priorities when thinking about staff support?
Thanks, Judith. That's now in the chat as well.
Excellent. So even if you guys are not in breakout rooms just yet, maybe you already have an opportunity to start thinking about it. And I can see, I think people are now disappearing. So I assume the breakout rooms are just going to happen.
Just one room didn't open, but the rest opened.
Super. Are you able to add that other room again?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, guys, for the technical hiccups this morning. Super.
Okay.
Now I just need to I need to plug in my phone again. Sorry. Excellent. So let's just see.
Anna, would you be able to assign me to a room as well?
Sorry,
yeah.
Lavi.
That would be great. Thank you. And do you know how long will be?
You said 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. We are kind of a little bit behind, but not to worry. So if we say 25 past, and then that's fine.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Pallavi.
No problem.
So what I do, Anna, if they're coming back at 25 past, then I do, the overview literally in 10 minutes. That is then 25 to, and then possibly only another 10 minutes in the breakout room, and then we have at least 15 minutes for discussion. Knowing that there's so many people, I hope it will be of a bit of a rich discussions towards the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know how many people there now were then? Because I was a bit thrown by the numbers.
There's 4 people in 6 rooms, so 24 people.
Super. Excellent. That's fantastic.
Including Pallavi.
Excellent. So I might just switch my camera and microphone off for a moment and then be back for 25 past.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I think the questions are in the chat then.
Yes, Pallavi did it.
Okay.
Cheers. Hiya.
Hi.
You can see that someone just joined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the breakout rooms in a
Super.
moment.
Just for your information, we're just coming back from the first breakout group, if that's okay. And then you will be able to join the next one, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll probably just listen to the feedback if that's all right, because I'm going to have to dip in and out. So I wouldn't want to let you down with the breakout groups, but if I can just listen in the background, that would be fantastic.
Not to worry.
Thank you.
I mean, if you accidentally end up in one of the breakout rooms, then just briefly say or mute yourself and switch off the camera, then people know, and then you just come back to the big group discussion at the end.
That's great. Thank you.
There's four people in each room, so it's okay if there's more of you.
Super.
Okay. Shall I start closing the rooms then?
Yes, please. If you
yeah.
bring them back in, and then go back to the presentation that that I can briefly talk about the staff support service. Just because I can already see a few people, we are just bringing everyone back from the breakout rooms, and because there are quite a few today, it might take a little while, so bear with us. But then I will make a start and talk a little bit more about the staff support service.
Yeah, it's failed to close again. It failed to open before, but hopefully second time's the charm.
No worries.
Okay.
I can see quite a few people are back now, but I don't know if all rooms are closed now.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Super.
So
Thank
I'll
you.
share the screen again.
That would be fantastic. Excellent.
Can everyone see that?
I hope that is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hannah.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I guess, as you know, as usually, also these slides will be available to you afterwards. So if there's anyone who has joined later or can't stay for the whole session, then you can always have those slides, of course, for your future resources. Yeah, just briefly, excuse me, to introduce ourselves again or give an overview of the new staff support service. Well, to some degree, it's actually not that new, because I'm sure loads of you will know has been really done a fantastic job of setting up, the Wellbeing Leads Forum, but also other things with regards to staff support over the past year. And she is the strategic lead for psychological medicine for the staff support service. And myself and my colleague, Dr. Susanna Jenner, recently joined, and now helping May in, of course, facilitating, the Wellbeing Leads Forum and trying to support you guys moving forward, but also offering other, staff support activities like the R3P I will talk about in a minute, providing individual support for staff if that's necessary. So really trying to be comprehensive in as much as we can. And would you mind moving to the next slide? And sorry, of course, not to forget also Anna, who's kindly helping me today, who is a great, help generally, really supporting what we are doing. So we are very grateful for all her practical help as well. So I'm sure you will see her more in weeks and months to come. So just with regards to the stepped recovery care model at OUH, I'm sure Gwyn has talked about this in previous sessions, just to kind of, give a brief overview again, or to remind ourselves. So the Trust has really opted for stepped recovery care model. I guess more at the bottom, the more generic support, for example, these one-to-one sessions, more senior clinicians or senior colleagues in the different teams will have a little bit of training on, and then inviting one-to-one conversations with all members of staff, just having a chance to reflect on our past experience or our experiences in the past year and what might be useful to think about moving forward. And then I guess as a next level then is already the R3P. Some of your teams may have already taken part. I know we have run a couple of sessions already or are about to attend with their teams. And that again is really, I guess, a more structured approach to giving reflective thinking space to teams, how the past year has been and how they're managing at the moment. Then I guess going into more specific needs, if there are individual members of staff who feel they need a little bit more than just the team support, and that is then I guess covered by Occu Health. So everyone can self-refer to occupational health, or line managers can refer staff after discussion. And then usually what happens is that I think occupational health will make contact, and the member of staff will have a conversation, I think, with either a doctor or a nurse, and then can refer on, for example, to us for psychology if that is, felt needed, or if the member of staff has expressed interest in that. And would you mind going on to the next slide? Fantastic. And just to say, of course, at the absolute top is then where possibly if we feel someone needs really more significant psychological support, we may have to liaise with our partners in the community, and then we may need to think more about, specialized mental health care, what we can't provide. For us, it's more thinking about psychological needs, I guess, in the context of work or at the workplace. And just to kind of list the different offers, I suppose, because I know there has been lots of talk in the past few weeks and months, and I know it's a little bit confusing getting lots of information. How does it all sit together? So as I said, the wellbeing interviews or the conversations should happen really, between all staff and their supervisors or managers, and it's something, really, I guess, generic, ongoing support, helping people to reflect on the experiences they have had. Then, of course, this forum will continue as well. I'm really aiming to continue how Gwen and Rachel had set this up, that you guys were able to meet every other week. I know you had 2 sessions per week. We may have to drop down to 1 session per week, but also given the feedback I think you gave in that Connect and Reflect session, I think it was February or March time, that some of you felt that actually having more time to have those group discussions or reflect would actually be really useful. And we are wondering at the moment if it would be useful rather than have 2 sessions in the same way, if it would be more helpful to have 1 themed session we could pre-record and you guys could look at, and then we basically spend like the session today more for you guys to reflect either in small groups but then also as a big group, because I'm very mindful that having twice those short breakout rooms and then maybe a bit of discussion at the end is not a lot of time if people really feel they get into it. And again, I'm really grateful if you guys could give us feedback, if there's anything you would like us to include moving forward with regards to themes, topics, if you have other ideas, what would be useful moving forward, knowing that you guys even more experts than I am, because I've only recently taken over, but of course our aim is that this is really useful to you, so we are more than of course happy to receive feedback. Then the R3P, I know Gwen talked about before as well. I don't know, and would it be possible to go into the next slide? Super, thank you. Sorry if that's a little bit too small. But this is really the model the Trust has opted for. It's called Recovery, Readjustment and Reintegration. And the main aim is for staff teams to have space, safe space and protected time to reflect on their experience. Reflect, I guess, where they are at and how to move forward. I think that is one of the key things. And how to be able to do that this program includes, I guess, a series of discussion groups all around different themes. So, for example, moral distressing situations or moral challenging decisions people or teams felt they had to make, experiences they had, possibly around loss and suffering over the past year, thinking a little bit about personal and professional challenges we all have encountered, and then I guess finishing off usually the day by really thinking about, were there any positives maybe as well, learning points teams would like to take forward, and I guess how to move forward in the future, because I'm very mindful, and I know that some of you have given feedback about this already in the past few sessions within this context as well, that of course it is not just about COVID. Staff well-being should always be at our forefront, and I know for a lot of teams, there were difficulties or really challenging situations before COVID, and COVID just has reinforced what was going on. And this is really, I guess, an opportunity to reflect on that as well, and thinking forward, what do you guys need? What do your teams need, regardless almost of the global pandemic and, all the rest of it. So it is generally just more thinking about well-being or staff well-being. And I do appreciate for some teams it might feel a bit, tricky to make this work on a practical level, because this R3P is meant to be for just a little bit more of, I guess, a bit more than half a day. Excuse me. We start at 9 o'clock, and then the session finishes at 2, of course, with a lunch break and tea break, in the middle as well. But I do know it is quite a big commitment for teams on enabling different members to attend. But do get back to Anna and also Molly, who are organising these R3Ps, and they will be able to help, or if you have any questions or concerns, we can try to think as creatively as possible about that. And then just lastly, as I said, maybe Anna, if you move to the next slide. Just really briefly thinking about individual staff support, because this is now, I guess, something we are just embarking on. As I said, referrals need to go through OUH Health, and everyone can self-refer. And then I guess psychological needs will be established. They might either meet myself or Susanna or someone else from the team to see what would be most useful for that member of staff. We currently work with a 6-session model, but this is also under review. Sorry, I think there was a question from someone.
I don't think so, Judith. I think it may have been feedback.
No worries, that's okay. So again, this is something hopefully people will feel is useful moving forward, and just really reflecting on more individual needs if the team support is not enough. So I hope that gave you a little bit of a whistle stop as well, but really following on from some of the things Gwen has talked about. So hopefully, it made it a little bit clearer. I suggest, I'm just mindful of time, that we maybe go now in the breakout rooms again. And I guess for the next reflection round, what would be really useful, maybe thinking a bit forward over the next 6 months, what do you guys feel would be useful for your teams, or what kind of hopes do you have for your teams? Where would you like your teams to be in the next 6 months? And also with regards to that, what support do you feel would be useful to you and your teams during that times? Because of course I'm mindful, just because we have these things on offer, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is what you guys feel would be useful, or you may have other ideas as well, or have already identified other needs your teams may have. So maybe for the next 10 minutes or so, if people could focus on these 2 questions. And Pallavi, if you don't mind putting these questions in the chat again whilst Anna is doing the breakout rooms, would that be okay?
Yes, they're in the chat now, Judith.
Super, thank you so much. And then we just come back as a big group and can reflect a little bit, or share a bit what you would find useful.
Judith, while we're waiting, there's a question from Joe. Is there an opportunity to do shorter R3P sessions for clinical staff? And is there a minimum number of attendees?
Unfortunately, at the moment, we can't really reduce the R3P, because it is, I guess, the set program, but we also felt we really, to have rich discussions, and because there are quite a few themes, we really feel we need that time. Oh, sorry, Anna, are they all gone in breakout rooms?
Yeah, no, sorry, I started them
No
when
worries.
Pallavi started asking the question. It just takes some time.
I will. No worries. I will just come back to that question then when they all come back. That is okay. Super.
So
Again,
what time?
so if we get, so I might just switch my camera off until 1:45, and then if we just give them a couple of more minutes, or maybe even a little bit more, because I'm mindful it's almost 22 already, and then we just get them back.
Okay.
Super. See you in a moment. Thank you, Anna.
Hi, Anna. Hi, it's Ruth. Sorry, I've got
Hey,
my
Ruth,
off.
should I pop you into a room?
Sorry,
Still...
I couldn't join until now. I've been really busy.
Okay, we have some questions in the group chat about what you're expecting for your teams for the next few months. Can I put you into one of the breakout rooms? It just started.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, but yeah, I'm sure it'll come up. I've been having some problems with Teams this morning.
That's okay. I'll put you into this one.
Thank you.
Shall we give it a couple of more minutes?
Yeah, and also there is a feedback form that we use in general for any psychological medicine. So I was thinking to put that in the chat. I'm not sure if Rashad has been doing it in the past few weeks, but I think May said it would be good, and especially with the theme of this specific one.
Absolutely, that would be really useful.
So maybe when you're closing remarks, if you could say that if they could fill it out, and I'll just pop it in the chat.
Yes, if I forget, please do remind us to chip in. And when I talk about the resources, yeah, feedback form. And I'm right in thinking that we as the facilitators also fill it in after the R3P and the Wellbeing Lead Forum, do we?
There's an activity log as well, a different link, which is for people who've been facilitating, and yeah, it's just to log how many hours or time we have been putting in to the service. So I think we're filling out that one. I can send you the links.
That would be great, because I thought there was also something for us to fill in, you know, how many people attended, who did you do the teaching or training to? I thought there were, so I thought that's what we have to fill in, plus this activity log you said.
Yeah, so the activity log is who did you do, what kind of service did you offer, which team did you do it for, and all that.
Super.
So
then I should have the link, because I'm pretty sure Molly sent all the 4, didn't she? For others to fill, for the attendees to fill in, and for us to fill in, and okay. Super. I don't know, maybe a couple
Should I start closing them, or?
Maybe. I'm just mindful we didn't have. Yeah, maybe it will take a little while, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, might be good. Yeah. Oh. Check now. Managers. I think again, slowly people are coming back in.
I think we managed to close them, so.
Because can you still hear me? Because I think my screen might be frozen because I can't see many people. Are we all back?
We can hear you.
I'm here.
Excellent, super. Now it has changed. Fantastic. And again, there might be a little bit of background noise, but hopefully that will ease in a moment. Excellent. Just before everyone went into the breakout rooms, I think there was a question about the R3P and if sessions could be a little bit shorter as well. I don't know, Anna or Pallavi, if you could just read out the whole question again, because I think it was twofold. Anna, is everyone back in? Super.
Yes, all the rooms are closed.
Super. So yeah, it was about the R3P, if a shorter session is available.
Yeah, it says, is there an opportunity to do shorter R3P sessions for clinical staff, and is there a minimum number of attendees?
So with regards to the first part of the question, we really at the moment try to keep the R3P as it is, because I guess we really want to allow that protected time for teams to have enough space and time to reflect, because, you know, the 5 topics it covers, it otherwise would feel, I think, pretty rushed. I mean, it's rushed already, even if it sounds possibly like a long time, having more than half a day. But I think shortening it at the moment would be difficult for us. But having said that, for teams who feel they don't necessarily need the R3P or not all of it, or they can't practically make it work, please do get in touch with us on the Wellbeing email address, because what we do for teams is sometimes we might offer a one-off reflective session or reflective thinking space session, and that can be then around a specific issue or a specific concern a team has, or if a team wants specific information, so for example, sometimes on stress or well-being or whatever else it is. So we are definitely able to do that, but we can't really change the format of the 3P at the moment, because it is a set, I guess, set program. Not to say maybe in the future, once we have run it for a bit and we have received feedback from people, that, you know, we might be able to amend it or change it in any way, but because we have just started with this, it would be really difficult for us to change at that stage. But as I said, please do get in touch with us if you feel your team would benefit from something else rather than this you know, the full R3P. And also there's no minimum number or maximum number of attendees, because what we just do, if there are loads of members of staff in a group, we just split them in smaller groups. So the two recent ones we have done, we had around, I think the first one was with around 6 or 8 members of staff. The next one was just over 10, but we're also really thinking ahead, and we had requests for teams, you know, 20, 30 and possibly more, and then all it means we would split into subgroups. So all the team members will receive still the same program, and also then come back for a group discussion at the end. So in a way it really, yeah, everyone or all teams in all shapes and forms are welcome, if that makes sense. Also, just hopefully, because it fits in now, in terms of resources for today, I just thought it might be good to have it in writing again, how to actually contact us, because I know there's so many different email addresses or so many things on offer at the moment. So if it's with regards to all the staff support things psychological medicine offers, then please contact the Wellbeing Lead, the Wellbeing email address. So for example, for the Wellbeing Leads like yourself, for the R3P, but also the team time facilitator training Pallavi was talking about last time, and I think you guys received subsequent information on. If it's more thinking about individual staff support needs, then please make contact with occupational health, or as I said, everyone can self-refer as well via that email address. So I hope that makes sense.
Judith, just to let you know, Jo has just asked another question in the chat.
Yes.
She was just asking, I think, Jo, this is referring to the R3P programmes. Are all the sessions run by yourselves, meaning the staff support service?
Either by ourselves, Susanna and myself, or May, or other psychology members of the psychological medicine team, because unfortunately I'm not working full-time, Susanna doesn't work full-time, and we want to make this, you know, as flexible as possible. So there might be other psychologists helping out as well. Excuse me. Or if we are thinking, you know, you have a big team, probably you want to sign up, then we need to also more facilitators to allow, you know, those small groups. So it's likely it will be me or myself or Susanna, but also possibly may meet other from our team, if that makes sense. Any other questions with regards to some of the things I have been talking about, or would it be useful for the remaining time maybe to share some of thoughts and reflection discussions in the breakout rooms, and maybe thinking, yeah, a little bit what do you feel your teams are at the moment, and what do you think would be useful moving forward?
I can just share what we discussed in both of my breakout rooms, which it seems like our teams just need normality and they need time off, and feel like this is what they actually need at the moment, which is difficult. There's not much that we can do about that, but just encourage them to take time off, and things like that. But yeah, it seems like in my breakout rooms does a thing.
Thank you for sharing that. And I guess that, you know, comes back a little bit, you guys may have heard this before, talking about, you know, the hierarchy of needs, you know, that it is sometimes also really about these practical things, just having time off, having a break, physically almost recovering, rather than possibly feeling like we don't need another reflective session right now, or we don't want to sit and talk. We just need some time off, and, you know, as you said, going back to normality. And, you know, that is really, really important as well, of course. Any other reflections, or also maybe thinking where you may see your teams in the next 6 months, or what you would like?
We talked about in our group about teams fatigue, and there were some really good examples of where other companies have given a half a day where there's no emails or no teams. And whilst we talked about all the benefits, and there's been some fantastic ones for teams that are split across site, I think there's also that let's have a break at a certain time as well. So we talked about that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
I definitely agree with Laura on that point. I heard on the TV the other night an advert for Teams with that noise we're all familiar with. And it almost felt like a PTSD. Crap, have I turned my laptop off? Someone's trying to ring me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A return to some face-to-face meetings and a balance between the two would be good. That's what I'd like to see in the next 6 months.
Fantastic. And I guess just, you know, on that note, I'm not sure, sorry if I didn't make that explicit, the R3P is face-to-face. We are not planning to do this virtual, because we really want, you know, the face-to-face contact, and that allowing that space and those discussions to unfold. And that's, I do appreciate, is, you know, then on a practical level difficult maybe for some teams to do, but we really prioritize that this is a face-to-face support, unless absolutely necessary to do virtually. But our preferred way of offering this at the moment is definitely face-to-face.
Can I just share about the teams fatigue? Some teams in my division, they actually implemented, so if it's a 30-minute break, now it's going to be 25. If it's an hour, meeting, if it's 30 minutes meeting, it will be 25. If it's 1 hour, it will be 50. Just because that is, yes, people are just getting very tired of having these meetings back to back. So this allows like 5 minutes to stretch, to walk. So that might be something that other people want to think in their areas. But having a day, as Laura was saying, 1 day out of meetings on Teams, that will be amazing for some people, I'm sure.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice idea. Thank you for sharing that, because I guess also on a practical level, I think that's what we have found as well. Usually if you have face-to-face meetings, or you have to go from one room to the other, or across the hospital, across sites, at least this gives you a bit of a break as well. And, you know, this expectation, I guess everyone is now available all the time, and you just have to switch on your, you know, your screen. I think, that, you know, can be tricky. So I really like that, you know, just allowing, you know, consciously some time for that as well. That is great. Anything else? I don't know. Sorry that I can't see the chat at the moment, but if there are any other questions in the chat?
Yes, there was a few people leaving. I also need to leave, but Karen has asked a question. Is there another Wellbeing Leads Forum at 10:30? I don't think there is. Judith or Anna, can you confirm?
No, there isn't. So today or this week, it's only one at 9 today, and there will only be one meeting next time. So in 2 weeks' time, possibly a little bit later. And I'm really sorry, because I know this is a bit of a change from going from 2 meetings per week to one meeting. It is just because we're in this transition phase, and at the moment it's just me facilitating. But also I'm really mindful. I wanted to respond to your feedback you guys have given previously. You know, I'm not sure if 2 meetings are needed. Of course, I do appreciate the time. If it's just one time a day, it won't, you know, be useful, or not. You know, not everyone will be able to attend. That's why we're thinking also about the pre-recorded sessions. But in 2 weeks' time, we will definitely have one again, and then we might go back to twice a week, or continue. So if you have any strong feelings about either, please do let us know. Also in terms of next topic, Again, based on your feedback and also recent discussions I had, is that I was wondering if it would be useful to look a little bit at team cohesion. Just mindful that even I think until recent weeks, only some teams have actually gone back to their roles before COVID. Some people still had to shield, have now come back from, shielding or leave or, other responsibilities. And I think it's only now that slowly teams feel like, well, we are kind of coming back to where we were before COVID without necessarily feeling like that. So I just wondered if it would be useful or a useful topic in your view to think a little bit about team cohesion. Again, if you have any alternative suggestions, please do let us know, because that would be really useful, because I'm happy to, otherwise offer something else if you guys feel that would be useful. And also to say, we will put a quick feedback link into the chat. I think it was initially done that, we invited you guys after these kind of sessions to give feedback, how useful you found it. And I think the past few ones, possibly it hasn't happened, but just that you guys know, there will be a link in the chat to give feedback. It's really quickly done. You just need to do it online, fill in the form, but it is really valuable to us if we know, what you would like and how you feel about these sessions moving forward. So I'm just mindful of time. I don't know if there are any final comments or any questions anyone would like to ask.
No, that's great. Thank you.
No worries. Lovely to see so many of you today. And again, sorry for the technical glitches throughout, but I'm really looking forward to seeing you or many of you again in 2 weeks' time. And any questions in the interim, please do make contact with us.
Great. Thanks. Bye.
Thank